All right, we're back. We took a week off and now we are back for more teachings and tangents. And we're going to continue with our chakra series. So, a few weeks back, we did root chakra, then we did our sacral chakra, and today we are on our solar plexus. This chakra is I would say besides the heart, the one that people speak of most. People talk about your heart and feeling things in your heart, right? But we also often hear even medical professionals being like in your gut, right? Feeling that gut feeling. You hear the word solar plexus used a lot more than, your root or your sacral or your third eye, right? You'll hear people say your solar plexus in physical therapy. They often talk about that area. So it's, I think, one that most people are a little familiar with. And once they learn more about what's actually housed in this particular chakra, this particular wheel of energy, then they realize that they actually know more. So we'll dive right into it. I'll share my screen again. I definitely got some feedback that was really helpful. And so that's great because this is interactive. Leave me messages, reach out to me through email or in the comments below. And we can always tweak these to be more accessible, to be more available, to have it be more for you, right? How do you want to learn? What do you want to learn? Besides, what do I want to share, right? What do you want to learn? So we will start with an explanation of the solar plexus, where it falls into the chakra lines. And I'm going to share my screen again. We all know that I have some issues with that. I also wanted to talk about how I missed last week. I'm having trouble right now with my screen. So, how I missed last week was I was out of balance in my solar plexus. I was overwhelmed with everything that was going on and the responsibilities that I had, the responsibilities that I made up that I had to other people, to myself, right? We often do that. We often think we are way more important and way more needed than we actually are, right? Like we insert ourselves into situations because we know better. We think we know better. We feel we know better. We want to protect. Everything we're doing is coming from a place of either safety or stress. Right? Most of our responses are either this is a reaction to stress or a need for safety, right? We've talked about this before in a bunch of different episodes that our main driver is love or fear. And fear is that feeling that you're going to miss out on something, you're not going to get something you deserve. So we get into that state of fear. Anyway, the past week, not so much this week, but last week, in this state of fear, what's so crazy is I'm looking out my window and somebody across the street is blowing bubbles, and from here they look to be like about a foot big, and it's so cool, and it's just reminding me of where I'm going to put my energy, right into that fun play. That is where the solar plexus lies. A lot of inner child work can happen here, and we'll dive into it. But as far as missing last week's email and missing last week's teachings and tangents, my youngest son graduated high school, and there was, for me, varying emotions, varying needs, varying, very all over the place stuff. And I had to, and I wouldn't do it differently. I had to take stock. I'm gonna take that back. There are some things I would have done differently, but I had to look at my week and say, how am I going to do this? How am I going to juggle my coaching business, my teachings and tangents, my email, my home life, my dog, my husband, my kids, in the midst of this amazing time for my son, Nick, my youngest son. And the curveball, I knew he was graduating and I knew I had to be there for that. But I found out he graduated on Wednesday, and I found out Wednesday afternoon that he had scheduled himself for his college overnight orientation on Thursday and Friday, and replied that his family wouldn't come. It was just going to be okay. So, it's just funny because he is so independent, the youngest one, but forgetting that there's financial aid things that we want to find out. There's meal plans we need to look at. What does 4 years at this school look like for Nick, right? So anyways, I rearranged schedule and put teachings and tangents and my newsletter on the back burner so that I could attend this overnight orientation with him. Thankfully, he's going about 45 minutes away, so I did not have to sleep in a college dorm. I was able to come home and go back the next day to get him. And I'll have you know, everything went wonderfully. So that's from me. That last week, my apology if you were like, where's the email? Where's the show? Right? And that is where it gets into how important sometimes we think we are, right? I had this, the scales in my head. Oh, I have Nick's graduation and Nick's orientation, and then needing to take care of things at my home and with my dog and my husband. And then I had teachings and tangents, right? And so sometimes we can get in our head, like, how are we going to let people down, right? Where does something give? Oh, my 70 YouTube subscribers will be so disappointed if I don't have a show, right? But I do think that you all have your own lives and can understand this balance of, I'm sure if you had something going on, you wouldn't be like, oh, but I usually watch this teachings and tangents on Friday, so I have to put this aside, right? We make these decisions, and I'm happy that I made that decision. When I said I go back and I do things differently, it really gave me a higher perspective of how I run this portion of my business, right? I'm not getting paid for teachings and tangents. I don't get paid to put out my weekly email, any of that, but it's part of what I do and I love it. And so it's under my business umbrella. And so I have to look at how I run my business. And it's given me some food for thought. Do I want to stockpile some episodes? I normally do them very tangenty, right? Very off the cuff. And so it's just given me food for thought. Anyways, that was a longer explanation than I had hoped for. And I'm actually thinking we're going to start here. So I've decided to add into our chakra series. Each chakra, I have this amazing chakra oracle deck. Karen Sangster. It's Chakra Insight Oracles, right? Comes in this amazing box. You get this great book. It's beautiful. You can Google it on Amazon or look it up on Amazon. But what I did is I separated today's cards out. So here are all the solar plexus cards. So I'm going to start our teachings and tangents today by calling into the collective and just, using physical, mental, spiritual energy to shuffle these cards, and we will get a collective reading of which card will guide us towards what we need to hear, right? A little message. We actually, a few episodes back, we did intuitive journaling with oracle cards. And there I explained that it's all about the words that hit you. And I may read what happens, what card we get, and it's going to hit all of us differently. I'm so distracted because I'm in this new office in our home that we're moving into, and my desk faces windows, and I am just in love with all the sights and sounds. And there's bubbles over there, there's a crow over there, and I want to make a crow friend, and I think I found one in my backyard here. So We're going to just center ourselves here, shuffle these, get a good one. This is it. Oh, I love it too. Personal boundaries. I don't know if you can actually see very well, but personal boundaries, choice, which is huge as we talk about solar plexus and just mindset, just our subconscious mind, to take away words that are not empowering and replace them with choice or choose, right? Huge. So choice, assertiveness, empowerment, and authenticity, personal boundaries. All right, we're going to just grab that from the book real quick. It's number 16, if that means anything to anybody. Sometimes knowing the number of the card. So I'll hold it up here. You guys can take a peek while I'm reading here. Embrace this moment to know where you stand and to stand where you are. Ooh, I love that. With clarity, centeredness, peace, and power. All right. Take your energy towards feeling strong and confident in yourself. Take responsibility for your own energy by communicating truthfully what is right for you and encouraging others to do the same. I love this. Boundaries are huge. And within my coaching practice, when I coach people, boundaries are related to nervous system regulation, related to mindfulness, related to mindset work. But the ultimate tip I can get to people is that we need to create boundaries that are not reliant on the other people doing anything, right? So that's where it becomes what I'm going to do if this, not I won't let you do this, right? Because we really have no major control over other people. So it's about that creating boundaries for ourselves. Ultimately, it's our responsibility, and we need to create boundaries where we are in control of the boundary. It's not reliant upon anybody doing anything else. It's our boundary. Boundaries, huge. I'm going to have to do an episode on that. What I am going to do right now is share my screen so we can get right into. I'm going to see how this works, because what I want to do is present this and let's see if it works. How wonderful. It says it's paused. So I'm going to stop and oh, here we go. I think I got it. Nope. This is miserable, huh? All right. So is this what happened last time? I think actually last time I was able to do it, and this time it's not letting me. So let's see. You're being so patient over there. And now it says it's paused. I think I did it, people. Do you see it? Oh, good. I think we do. I'll watch this back, and if we don't, we'll do it over. Um, so today I'm really excited. I want to share with you a personal accomplishment is that it's my third day in a row of doing this 3 mile loop here. I'm so enjoying our new home and our new area because I never really enjoyed walking in our old one. So that's my personal I'll do the walk, but I never am like, I'm doing it every day, no matter what, and putting it first. I absolutely love it. So we're sharing screen and we're ready to go. And we have here our chakras. So now today we are on solar plexus. And as you can see, this is just your review of all of them. And today for our solar plexus, it's about 2 inches, 2 to 3 inches above your belly button and below your breast, sort of almost at the base of your diaphragm too. And the number corresponds to 3. It is our third chakra in the Hindu chakra systems, the traditional chakra systems. The symbol, I actually made it larger here so that we can take a peek at it. So this symbol um pulls in, just like the past two that we've did and the next that we'll do. It pulls in all the elements, so it's almost like saying a whole bunch in one symbol. You've got the yellow, we've got the sun again, the circle, the lotus flower with its petals, right? And in the middle, we have an upside down triangle. Now, with the elements, an upside down triangle actually means water. And so this is where we can learn about the solar plexus symbol and what it stands for by saying we've got fire and water. It's a huge, the solar plexus, solar, sun, it is the center of our energetic system here. It is once we learn to stand in our power, right? We're the center of our own universe, the sun, right? We can then, all of our chakras will be impacted by that. We work on our root and sacral and heart and throat and third eye and crown through expressing our personal power. You're not going to be able to work on different aspects of yourself unless you believe in yourself first, right? So we had those basic needs with our root chakra, right? And those need to be met so that we're able to work on our solar plexus, right? We can work, it's this tandemness that works together. And that's why we often ebb and flow between all of the chakras. And if you heavy focus on one, you can be sure that you're out of balance in other areas, you're neglecting different areas. So with this symbol, it's showing us that we have energy, the sun and water. It's actually this masculine, feminine energy that works together. So we had the root, which was very masculine. We had our sacral, which is that the sex organ area, which is very feminine. And now we're having them work together, this yin and yang. And that's where our power lies, is in working with our own feminine and masculine energy to create a balance, right? So we'll go back to this screen here. I just wanted to make that symbol larger to get a good look at it. And now the lotus petals around the symbol. Two different kind of theories. In traditional Hinduism, we have what I'm about to read, but also in Ayurvedic medicine, the 10 symbols of this chakra, of the solar plexus chakra, correlate to the 10 pranas. Now, I don't know enough about Ayurvedic medicine or Ayurveda to speak to that, but I have a peer, Betsy, who is really great at it, and I'll ask her permission first. I'm sure she won't mind, but I'm going to link her in my show notes here because she actually has a podcast about working Ayurvedically, and she'll know more about these 10 pranas than I could even speak to. But I wanted to let you know that because when we look at chakras, you could Google chakra and you're going to get a whole bunch of different thoughts and opinions and traditions. And so it's good to kind of look at it's like a buffet. Look at it. What do you want? Take what you want, leave the rest, but know you can go back to it later if it's something that resonates with you for another time, right? So for our purposes, we're going to take these 10 lotus petals, and just like the past two that we've done, and just like the ones we'll do, what the petals stand for is what characteristics, traits, feelings, emotions that need to be worked through and righted and balanced so that that particular energy center can be in balance. And so you'll see here, we have sadness, foolishness, delusion, disgust, fear, shame, betrayal, jealousy, ambition, and ignorance. And now ignorance is, I like to look at it more of a way to say, like, you jump to conclusions, you assume things very quickly, right? You're not allowing a pause, right? It's not ignorance as in not intelligent or not smart about something. It's just that assumption. I guess you could think of it as ignorance, but but really it's not intelligence or whatnot. It is that making assumptions about things and rolling with it and running away, right? So when we have sadness, now, sadness isn't bad. Sadness is a signal that something is not right or something is making us uncomfortable. But all of these emotions have a purpose, have a time and a place. It's when you are heavily and over relying on them to make decisions, right? If we make a decision out of shame or guilt or out of betrayal that we fear there is no trust there, you're making a decision that is from a place of scarcity and not abundance. So this is where we take a look at how we can bring balance in to these emotions and have them be right sized almost, right? To be ambitious is not necessarily a bad thing, right? But it's at what cost, right? Or how do we do it? Are we cheating our way to do it? Are we stepping over other people to do it? So much so that we lose sight of actually what we want. And it's more that feeling of what we're doing to ourselves before we even get to our goal. Your goal may not even be what you want if you're overrun by ambition. You just may be head down, right? You don't know where you're going. So that's how we balance. We work on these. We'll get into some stuff to help us move through that. And the mantras, the affirmations, it's a doing, it's an action. This chakra is about balancing our power, our purpose, our goal setting, how we want to live. What are we going to do to create the life we want? How are we going to behave, right? To do. So I trust in my ability to succeed. I take control of my life. I am working towards the goals I choose, right? And now this is where choice comes in again. We are choosing how to move towards our goals, right? It's not we can or can't do something to obtain our goal. It's always this choice. Giving yourself a choice is the most empowering thing you can do. Accepting a choice, not feeling like I can't do that, right? I don't want to do that. I choose not to. So the element is fire, even though inside of our symbol we have that upside down triangle, that's water. That symbol is there to remind us of that balance, that feminine and masculine balance that needs to take place for us to stand in our personal power. But the element of this chakra is fire. It's that, it's our gut, right? That everybody talks about how that fire in your belly, right? They've got fire in their belly to achieve their goal. They've got it. They're ready. They're not out of balance with it. And it's that soul fire, that burning in your gut, the internal oven. I love to say, because we get very creative when we stand in our personal power. Everything seems to fall into alignment when you are in your own personal power, when you're in alignment. And now we'll get into kind of the fun stuff that I feel like everybody loves because it's sort of easy. It's an easy way to help us to balance these chakras is to learn about the colors and things that correlate to it. So Yes, it seems like it's kind of obvious, right? If yellow is the color of this chakra, we're going to go with yellow fruits and vegetables, but there's also different types of things we can look for, right? Grapefruit is a very fiery citrus fruit, right? It's got that tart sharpness to it, as opposed to an orange is a little more bright, right? It's a brighter citrus fruit. And grapefruits aren't necessarily yellow either, right? But it is in that family. So we've got bananas and pineapples, grapefruits, pears, and lemons, and the list goes on. You can Google foods for solar plexus and get a ton of stuff. But we've corn obviously is yellow. Corn is a very in my mind right now, very controversial thing because of all the GMO'd corn, and it just is so mass produced and it tends to be very irritating, but you have to put it in there because it is a yellow food, and I need to tell you that it's yellow. So you but also corn in Native American and in tons of indigenous populations, corn is life, right? It's that power. It generates a feeling, it's revered, it's gives them that life source, right? So there's another correlation for the corn. An onion is very fiery. It's not necessarily yellow, although maybe shades of yellow, right? Golden beets, ginger, again, very fiery. Planets. Mars is the one, if you Google solar plexus, Mars comes up. And when you think of Mars as having both of that duality, um, of the yin and yang qualities, but then the sun always is connected with our solar plexus. It again, solar, it is that center fire of our being. And crystals, we're going to lean into yellow crystals. We're going to lean into amber, citrine, yellow calcite, and jade. And so also I think it was last week, Tiger Eye was for the orange, but I personally find Tiger Eye works really well with creating personal power. So it's one that I use for my solar plexus work. Um, and that is where we can lean into our intuition and what calls to you. I'll get into it next week with the heart chakra, but a lot of people, the heart chakra is green, 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 right? But we grow up thinking red and pinks and heart and love. And a lot of people love rose quartz for their heart chakra stone. And that's leaning into your intuition as to what your heart wants and what it needs, right? And so with our solar plexus, what is your gut telling you, right? What are you feeling called to express? Now, yoga poses and stretches. I've said it once, I'll say it again. I'm no yoga teacher, but these are poses that ignite that area, that ignite our solar plexus. Um, the boat pose, these two right here, this one right here is a little more of a modified version. And to make this boat pose um more modified, I guess, what you can do is get up right up against a wall and put your feet on the wall and put a pillow behind your back. And you don't need to feel that area necessarily activate or work it real hard, right? A lot of practitioners will say to activate your solar plexus, get heavy on that core work and make it burn. Great. If that's what you want, if your body is telling you you need to feel it, but if it's a slight activation, let's make it accessible for ourselves. Let's make some accommodations. And it's the intention, it's the vibration. If your intention of getting on the floor and putting your feet against the wall right here, pretending there's a wall here and some pillows. Oh, I don't even have my water today. Make it easy for yourself. Make it doable. This where you really are balancing on your tailbone it really will allow you to feel that, right? So it's how you want to practice. Really. And then again, just like last week, this crescent pose where you are pulling open your belly and allowing movement and room and space, inviting it in, creating space for that wheel to freely move. The bow pose. This is they say intermediate. I say advanced. I think this is a very advanced pose. Um, I think it's advanced if you're gonna grab the top of your feet like that, and there was a time I could do it, but, yeah, it's advanced. Give it a shot if you want. I'm not the only modifications that I can suggest for this, and again, I'm no yoga teacher, no doctor, do this at your own risk, is by using a belt, right? Using a strap, using something to elongate your arm, elongate that space between your arms and your legs, wrap the strap around your feet and holding it gently. And you can do this as tightly or as loosely as you want, right? Play with those, have fun, play with getting fruits and vegetables and colors. Maybe you have a gorgeous yellow sundress that you want to wear to a family party that you might, maybe there's been some discord between certain members and you want to go in standing in your power. You don't want to go in cocky. We're going to talk about some of this in a little bit. You don't want to go in on the other extreme and kind of cocky and I dare you, right? And you don't want to go in meek and oh, this is uncomfortable. I feel nervous. You want to walk into situations standing in your personal power, and that is your birthright and that is your choice. Choose it. Next, here we go with some journal prompts. If you are a journaler, these prompts will allow you to spend some time nurturing your solar plexus. What are my favorite things, qualities, traits about myself? When have I felt courageous in my life? So spending some time thinking about when you felt courageous was probably when you were in your personal power and you were in alignment with your beliefs, with your wants, with your desires. And so that hindsight of courageousness will give us a clue as to when we were feeling our personal power, right? And a lot of getting in our personal power is finding out why we're not in our personal power. And this is where the balancing can come in. What scares me the most and why does it scare me? And how can I overcome this fear? Right? This, I can't, we could go into this, but you really need to know what is scaring you the most to then follow these things because there's certain fears that take a little more finesse, a little more time than others. But spend some time with these questions. What scares me the most? What makes me uncomfortable? How can I overcome this? And then really get clear. Are the choices, remember, it's all about our choices. Are the choices that I'm making in my life leading me to feeling empowered, leading me to be confident, leading me to stand in my personal power? Do I make choices? Do I stand up for myself, right? Just get clear, sit with that. Maybe the answer is, I don't know right now, and get clear. Just spend some time with that. And then growing personally is one of the best ways to stand in your power. Take a course, take a drawing course, learn how to play pickleball, learn how to paint or knit, or maybe take a college course and discover something new that you want to learn more about, right? How can you grow personally? It's when we stop growing personally that we fall out of our power. We fall out of our personal power because we're human and we need that feedback that we are growing and we are moving towards goals and we do have purpose, right? This is a great way to play with our solar plexus is what's one way you can push yourself out of your comfort zone. So This is where we get in touch with ourselves and what it means for us. My comfort zone is different than yours. This talking to my camera and posting it on YouTube might be really outside of somebody's comfort zone. And it's within my comfort zone. I'm okay with it, right? So what is right at that edge? How can you play with your comfort zone edge, right? That growth edge is what they also call it. Huh. Next week, I'll remember my water. How can you get to that edge and just push it a little bit? Maybe it's starting a conversation with a stranger, right? Maybe you do that anyways, and that's not out of your comfort zone. So get clear on how you can do that. And now I'm going to stop sharing that screen, and we're going to talk more about how we can balance this, how we can balance our chakra. When you're imbalanced with your solar plexus, you are very tolerant and accepting of others and yourself, right? We talked about how there is this balance. When we're talking about putting something in balance, means that there's an extreme on either edge and we want the balance, right? So we want to feel confident. We don't want to feel cocky and we don't want to feel less than, right? We want to feel confident. And that's my favorite thing I learned. And I learned this in recovery rooms is to feel humble. We often think of humbling ourselves as we were too cocky, right? Like they need to humble themselves, right? To be humble is actually to realize that you're no better and you're no worse than anybody else. To be humble is a middle of the road. People don't think about feeling that you're less than. It's people tend to think it's worse to be cocky than to feel less than. But if we're humble and we're confident, humble and confidence goes together. That's where the balance lies, right? And we want to be assertive, but we don't want to be dominating, right? And we don't want people to walk all over us. We want to be clear and concise and assertive, having ambitions and working towards goals, right? There's one thing if I have a dream, if I had a dream to do this YouTube channel and it just always sat and it was just a dream, that I'm out of balance. My sacral chakra, excuse me, my solar plexus chakra is out of balance because I'm not living in that personal power of working towards my goal. And this is where I love to also add in we're all individuals. Some people are slower paced working towards their goals, right? I'm working with somebody now who is completing their coaching certification and they are taking their time where other people want to lay it out and complete an online certification in a week. And if it works for you, great. It's how is your energy working towards your goals, right? When you are out of balance in your sacral, excuse me, I keep saying that, your solar plexus shower, your solar plexus chakra, maybe I'm getting tired. Anyways, you need to be with others all the time because you have a lack of personal power and you are taking energy from other people. This isn't to say you want to hang out with people, but this is to say that you constantly have an inner drive to always be around other people. You would choose to always be with other people rather than to be by yourself in solitude, in an inner calm or peace, right? That's when you know you're not trusting yourself because you need others to help you read, help you gauge. Am I okay? What are they thinking and feeling? Am I okay? What are they thinking and feeling? So that's when it's very ego focused. because you tend to try to create overwhelm in your life. When you are out of balance in your solar plexus, you often feel overwhelmed because there is no inner guidance. You're overwhelming yourself. You lack that direction and purpose. So when we work on this, whether it's in coaching or by yourself, inner child, I told you, is such a great way to inner child work is amazing companion to all the chakras to work on. But particular when you're doing it for your solar plexus, you want to say mantras or affirmations where it's, I choose to grow up. And we can be 80 years old and still acting unadult like, right? Still acting in these unbalanced ways, still not moving towards the goals that we want, still acting cocky. We can still have this, but we can always have a moment where we're going to say, I'm choosing to grow up. I choose to stand in my personal power today. I stand in my personal power today. I choose to move forward in my life. And then the acknowledgement and the ownership of this next affirmation is huge. I create my life. I create my existence. What does that look like? How do you want to create it? It's an amazing question. What do you want your life to look like? How do you want to feel? Knowing that you create that, right? I am worthy of giving and receiving love and respect, right? These affirmations related to our solar plexus are huge and can give us so much grounding to stand on, firm foundation that we can then stand in our personal power. And like we had talked about just a few seconds ago, the actions you can take would be completing a childhood goal. What was something as a kid, right? Maybe you always wanted to create a stained glass window, a small one, a big one, whatever. Complete that goal, complete that inner compass goal that you wanted to do. Maybe you always wanted to grow a sunflower. Give it a shot. Try it now. Other actions we can take that I just spoke about was finding a way to move out of your comfort zone, right? So the difference between completing a childhood goal or dream is that it's often pushed aside or forgotten, right? And it's not, we don't necessarily, sometimes it's hard to complete goals when they are outside of our comfort zone, right? But if we find something else other than a childhood goal to help us move out of our comfort zone, it takes on a different empowerment and a different level of standing in our power so that we can create the life that you want. And again, what does that look like? What does that feel like? And I think that that is all I have for today on our solar plexus. I'm really excited to dive into heart chakra next week. But what I would love is if you have any questions on the solar plexus, drop it down below. Oh, there is one thing with solar plex. There are so many things outside the window. There's a bunny rabbit right now. Um, there's so many things with the solar plexus I love to work on. I love to work on them all. I feel like it's like every time, this is my favorite. This is my favorite. But with solar plexus, the frequency, vibration, the hertz, I love doing bilateral beats. And at 528 is the hertz. So you're on YouTube watching this, go Google 528 hertz and listen to some of that music. And as you're doing that, so there's I have so many ways to share of working on these chakras that I feel like it's a never-ending thing. But as you're listening to these beats, 528, do visualizations. You can visualize a gorgeous yellow light and do it either way, coming down into your solar plexus and flooding your four energetic bodies, or imagine it as a seed or a kernel right in your solar plexus, and it's yellow and it's getting brighter and brighter and coming out and coming out. And you can even make that pulse with your breath as you're listening to these beats. Another great way is to use visualization. And when we are feeling a lack of control or that overwhelm, visualizing yellow, right? Visualizing the sun and its rays just coming out, visualizing fire and having that fire that looks, you're just imagining it, right? When we want to create room or invite space, we can also think of things melting, like a candle, a gorgeous yellow candle melting, or a stick of butter. Imagine that melting, and then it allows us to create softness and space in our body to invite healing and balancing of this chakra. And with that, just remember that we did pull our card of personal boundaries. And so it's choice. We talked about this, personal boundaries and choice. Remembering that our boundaries should not involve the other person or other people to do anything. So maybe create some boundaries about how you can stand in your own personal power, what you will do to create that space for yourself. All right. Follow for next week's show and leave me a note, leave me a review. It will be awesome to include anything that you would like in our next episodes. Take care. That's it. Teachings and Tangents.